Hi, it's Rebecca and thank you for being here. So I'm going to show you two ways to do the tunic. One is using the rotary method, using the mat, the self-healing mat, and then the other way is if you don't have these kinds of supplies, then using a ruler, a yardstick, markers, and a really nice sharp pair of scissors. And one of the things you will need also is pins. Sometimes I like to use the painter's tape. It comes on and off really easy. I just kind of keep this handy. So I want to show you a few things. One of the things that I made are the animal tunics, and the kids really enjoy these. The others, we talked about the multicultural pieces and the appropriation of culture pieces. And so I am one to find prints, beautiful prints, and I have these that I made the tunics, and the printed copy of this pattern shows some shorter versions. Now, one of the things I do want to show you is in my original versions, I did cut a slit in the front where the tie could go through. What I found is it really isn't necessary. And so the ones that I've been making lately, I haven't had that. So yeah, we've got this kind of a print, and here's a zebra print. So those have been a great deal of fun in the classroom with the kids. So here's a mat. I've had this for many, many years, and these are self-healing. You use these with a special ruler that's plastic and your rotary. Now, one of the things you want to be careful of with these rotary blades is that when you lay it down, please close it, because these things are really super sharp. I have cut myself with them. It's not fun. So the first thing I want to show you is using it without the rotary. One of the things you can buy, and this is less expensive than the mats, are these cardboard trifold boards. You can get these at anywhere, pretty much at Joann's or any of the fabric stores. So what I want to do is I'm going to actually use the board. So now I'm going to transfer these things onto the board, and I'm going to grab the fabric. Just put this over here. See, this is the stuff that you get when your kids move out, and then you can put your stuff out. That's great. We're pretty dusty right here in Southern Oregon. We've had our fires again, and there's ash all over everything. So here's the board, and I don't have it folded out all the way, just as what I think I'm going to need. And now I'm going to remove the cat from the fabric. There you go. There you go. Sorry about that. That's Mimi. She's the alpha cat. So here's the fabric, and you can see that I've got yardage. I bought probably about 1.5 yards, 2 yards of it. And you want to get fabric that's got good stretch. If it doesn't, when you wash it, it may ravel on the edges. And if that's the case, all you really need to do is just re-clip it a little bit, or use a pair of pinking shears, or fray check, which seals your edges, or even just find somebody who's got a serger and ask them to do it for you. So when you get your fabric, one of the things to understand is that when it gets wrapped in the bolt to go to the fabric store, it comes off with big rollers from up above. So sometimes when it gets on the bolt, it really isn't what you might call thread perfect. Now what I did is I took the fabric and I smoothed it out, and I'm going to be working on the wrong side so that you can see my marks. And I pinned it because this stuff does tend to be pretty slippery. But using the mat, I have 1-inch grids, so that's going to make it a lot easier to do some of the cutting. But one of the things I want to do, so you can see how I pinned, but see how it's uneven? So what I want to do is use the grid, and I'm going to come down here. Whoops, come here, sit. I'm going to move that up a little bit because I want to even this out a little. So I'm going to move it from along this line, down, a little bit on this line, so I can get this pretty squared off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the line, and I'm going to draw with my marker a line for cutting. And that's going to even that up. And again, I'm using the wrong side of the fabric just so you can see the marks. And if you are going to be using a marker, I would suggest you do use the lighter side of whatever your fabric is. Okay, so here's my really sharp scissors. I'm going to stick this on here just to help hold it down. I'm going to remove this pin, and here I go. Don't worry about being perfect. One of the things that my mom taught me was that when you're cutting, don't look at the point of the scissors, look past that, because your scissors will actually follow wherever your eye is. So I'm actually looking past. Take out the pins. I'm holding down this extra right here just for a little bit more support. Pull your scissors all the way is what Mama told me. She used to work for a dressmaker. There you go. All done. Now this is even, but what I do want to do is come back and pin that, because as I've mentioned, this type of fabric is pretty slippery. These are jerseys, polyesters. If you do want to use cottons or cotton blends, that's fine. But remember, you'll need to find a way to finish your edges. Otherwise, they will ravel. Come on. Here we go. I can hear my kitty purring. I don't know if you can. She must be happy. What I love about doing this is, even though it does require a little bit of time, it is so far less expensive than buying things in the catalog. I've taken fabrics that I have had donated to us, fabrics that I've found at thrift stores. So the first thing I want to do is measure 16 inches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, right here. The other thing you can do is you can use your yardstick and measure 16. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a mark at 16, just like that. Okay. Then I want to measure down. What I want is a length of about 22 or 23 inches. That's for short. Now, if you've got taller kids, you can make a variety. You can go longer if you want to. But I find across here, your shoulders, most kids are not really that big in the shoulders. And even if they are, this 16 inches seems to fit. But measure your own kids, because if you need to add a couple of inches, it's really simple to do. So I'm doing 16, and I'm going to, again, go to that line. And I'm going to find a line here. And I find that just having the grid is really helpful. But if you don't have it, you can tape down your fabric and then just use your yardstick and your ruler. So there you go. Now the length that I'm going to choose is going to be, I think I'll go 23 down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this back here, and I'm just going to count by inch. Let's just do it this way. We'll go 23. And here we are. So I'm going to put another notch right there. And I'm going to measure from here and another notch right there. So I know from this notch to this notch, that's my length. Okay? Now one of the things I'm going to do when I cut this is I'm not going to cut this all the way, because as I do the next one or two, I'm actually going to want some longer bands than what I usually get. And that way I can cut them the way that I want. Kids can use them in on their heads, or on their arms, or on their legs, wrap babies in them. So here I go. So what I'm also going to do, before I move this larger piece, I am going to put some more pins in it. It'll just keep it from slip and sliding and just save me a little bit of work and energy when I bring it back to the table. So now I'm going to remove that for the time being. So here we go. We've got our main piece right here. I'm going to bring that down now. The next thing I'm going to do is just kind of straighten it up a little bit, repin it, because it does want to slip and slide. There we go. Don't worry if it isn't perfect, it's okay. That's what I like about this too. It does not have to be perfect. Perfection is under fiction in the library. All right, I'm going to fold it in half now. So I have a point. This is the open edges. This is your fold. Let me just line that up a little bit. So I'm going to use a ruler now. And I'm going to measure in 3 inches, or you can use your grid. What I'm going to do is make a mark right there. Then I'm going to measure down from the point 3 inches. And you can vary this. If it needs to be bigger, that's fine, depending on the size that you really want for these kiddos. Then I am going to take those notches. I'm going to lay this at a diagonal from mark to mark and create a cutting line. Oops, that one got pretty. Okay. And there you go. Now, remove the pin and cut. There you go. Simple. Now you got yourself a little square. I'm going to open this, and there's the neckline. There is how you're going to put it over their little heads. So next, I'm going to remove some of the pins. I hear my puppy in the background. Okay, take the top layer, fold it up to the bottom of the neckline. Take the next section, fold it up, okay? Now it's from these points that you're going to cut your ties. Now this might be a little bit hard because now this fabric is dark. But what you'll do is you're going to measure 2 inches in. 2 inches. Make a line. Make a line. Make a line. You can make this a solid line if you want to, or just some little lines that you can follow. 2 inches, okay? And I'm going to do it on the same way on the other side. 2 inches. 2 inches. 2 inches. I'm looking on the pattern to see the lighter areas, so I'll be able to see the line. All right, so now I'm just going to take my scissors, and I'm going to cut that along the 2-inch line, just like that. I'm going to go all the way up to the fold. And just be careful that you don't go into the fold. There you go. Other side. Just like that. Now, if you do want to make slits, you can open this up, see where the ties are, and on this other side you can go ahead and cut some slits, and that's where the ties can go through and tie. But I have found that just coming like this is enough. And that's it. You're done. You have just made yourself a lovely little tunic for the kids to play dress-ups. And those ties will come. Sometimes they wear them on the back. And that's it. That is it. So easy. So easy. All right, now I want to show you doing this with the rotary. Some of you probably know this, and having done this part with me, you already know what to do with your mat, but some of you may never have used those supplies before. So I'm going to show you. The big thing, oopsie, the big thing is these materials tend to be a little bit more expensive, So if you don't want to invest in that, I mean, it can be kind of spendy, then get the cardboard one, because that's really well worth the money, and they last forever. All right. So here's my fabric, my big wad of fabric. I'm going to bring it back up, just like this. Oop, there we go. Just like that. And I am probably going to turn this. Because I have quite a bit of length. There we go. And move it over. Stretch my body a little bit and go up further. So not that tall. There we go. Ugh. And what I'm doing is just making sure that the fabric is pretty even. Push out any wrinkles. And get ready to go. This part I think is the most time consuming because the fabric likes to slip. There we go. All right. So I've had these for a while. So I'm going to count in. I did throw it off the mat just a little bit just because of space. So here we go. We're going to go 16 across. So here we are at 16. I'm going to go ahead and put a notch there. Notch there. And then I'm going to come in 16 again. And if it's a smaller piece of fabric, you can go ahead and just use your grid. And there is 16. Okay. Now I don't have a ruler that is that long, but I've been doing this for a while. Okay, and that should do it. Plus, I don't want to really go any more than here, right there. So I'm going to measure that again. Don't want to go past that. And that's 22. Right? 23 today. That's 23. All right. 23. All right. Okay. And where's the rotary? Hello. I'll be back. All right, pushing this down. Do be careful with it. I'm holding this firm, coming where I want to, putting that into the fabric. Again, these are very sharp. Please be careful. Then I'm going to come across here. And again, you don't have to be perfect on these. Just be careful when you're using these materials, these supplies. I'm going to use these just to finish it off a little bit. There we go. There we go. Oops. I'm not going to worry about that. Okay. So this goes away. This goes away. This goes away. Okay, a little bit right there. Close. Okay. Here we go. Make sure this is even. Good. And all I'm going to do is fold that over. Line this up. this line. Make sure this is pretty even here. I'm going to put this corner in the corner of one of these grid squares. Take this out. All right. Got my other one. This is a little more narrow. Go 3 inches in. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 down. Match that up. And cut. There it is. Okay. Take these out. Okay. Top layer goes up. Gets folded twice. I'm going to put this along the grid. I'm going to measure 2 inches. 2 inches. 1, 2. So I'm lined up here on this line and lined up here on this line. Here's the fold. I don't want to go anywhere past that.
Sorry.
It's the smoke. All right. And then here as well, I'm going to line this up. Okay. So I've got 2 inches on this line, coming down to 2 inches here, and cutting right to the right up to the fold, not into the fold. Okay. And again, if you want to cut slits, you can, but I would use scissors and not the rotary. It's just easier. And there you go. That's it. All you rotary people, here you go. Back or front, either way. There you go. And that's it. Thank you. Enjoy. It can be addicting. Send me pictures. Bye-bye.